Sto morendo di caldo.
Di caldo?
Di caldo?
Siamo arrivati, siamo arrivati al posto.
Quello di l'erba, tu hai capito quando ero venuto io?
Ah, vedi, ci sono le piantine di olivo. Di Natale. Arriviamo ad un certo punto che c'è la Basilica, che è bellissima, quindi ci sono tutti i quadri di Giorgio Cimabue, sono dei quadri stupendi, nonno. Tu chiudi gli occhi, nonna ti fa entrare con gli occhi chiusi. Quando sei dentro la basilica ti faccio aprire gli occhi
No, no,
e tu sei in paradiso.
quelli imbottiti, le scarpe
Guarda che
imbottite.
meraviglia. Manuela, hai visto che bello queste case? Una città antica, diversa, vedi la tua città? Manuela, hai visto come è particolare? Vedi, Manuela, dappertutto, vedi, sulla sinistra ci sono
Lucia che viene con Maria da prendere la pasta.
Santa Maria ci stanno dentro. Quella roba.
Which is a letter that is circulated to everyone. Usually it would start with 2 words in Latin, 2 or 3 words in Latin. So fides et ratio, whatever. And it's usually the first couple of words of the actual text of the encyclical itself. Pope Francis decided to use the vernacular Italian that St. Francis used in his prayer that I sent you earlier today while you were on the bus, the Canticle of Canticles, where St. Francis is praising God through creation. So he's looking at the world and he's bringing it all back to God, and he's saying sort of, and I am a part of this, and thank you for this gift of the whole world. So you'll see Laudato Si around, and in fact, as you go down this here, I see that they've actually put the prayer as you walk through. It's just like, oh, pretty cool. Yeah. We're going to go, this is Santa Chiara here, so we're going to Santa Chiara and find the cross, spend some time praying, and then we'll move on.
Oh, Fabio, dove sei?
Is this called a flying buttress? This is a flying buttress, yes, yeah.
con allineamento del
Okay, I just spam like the fudge. You want more?
on the cover.
We'll
We'll have time for two shots, right?
Like, no, both of them are taking
Costruzione facciale e anche nelle parti.
Oh, sorry, no. We don't need a flag, we've got the GoPro.
That's right. I came prepared. I know what I'm doing.
Got the right idea.
Oggi voi vedete
Arrivata? Sta in chiesa? Io l'ho già detto, ho già avvisato. Buongiorno.
Eucharist especially.
Yeah.
So he was like a young boy who was really in touch with his faith, even though his parents weren't. Like his parents weren't practicing, and he was in love with the Eucharist and Jesus and the Eucharist. So he had a real devotion to that, and helped a lot of people come close to the Eucharist as well. So he created a website that documented all the Eucharistic miracles. So places around the world where Jesus in a special way becomes present in the Eucharist physically, and that there's been multiple of those like incidences throughout like the years. So he made a website about that. It's still active today. Yeah, and then he died at age 15 of leukemia, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, which is really sad. But like a few years ago, he was because of his holiness. He when he was being moved, his body was discovered incorrupt. So his body hadn't decomposed like Saint Cecilia that we saw before as well. So yeah.
Well done, thank you, Nariksha. So just like not everyone would necessarily be familiar with what we mean by Eucharist and Eucharistic miracle. Am I right about that? So during the Mass, there's a moment when the priest says, "This is my body," and then he says, "This is my blood." So he takes the bread, the hosts, and the wine. And what we believe as Catholics is that at that moment, as at the Last Supper, the bread really becomes the body of Christ and the wine really becomes his blood. So it still tastes like bread, it still looks like bread, it still tastes like wine, it still looks like wine, still smells like wine, etc. It's what Thomas Aquinas says, you know, the accidents are still there, the way that we experience it through our senses is still there, but actually a transubstantiation has happened. The substance has changed into Christ, fully Christ. So you're actually receiving God at that moment of the Eucharist. And of course that's a bit of a tall order to believe, isn't it? Because we're just mere humans and we're looking and you know, sometimes these Eucharistic miracles will happen when a priest is doubting and he's holding up the host and he's saying, "I want to believe, please help me believe, but I can't believe." And the host will start dripping blood. And there's a little one in Orvieto, we went past Orvieto on the way here. They actually did an analysis of the host afterwards and they found that the
Living cells, yeah?
living cells and cardiac cells. So actually from heart muscle. Yeah, so it's a miracle, right? You can't, and it's something that is difficult to explain, but for a young boy trying to figure out in the 20th century what all of this is about, you can see how that would be really intriguing to show that scientifically you could actually analyze this and show that there's something going on that the world might like to hear. Now when you come inside, I know Archbishop Fisher told me that he brought a number of principals on retreat to Assisi, and when they saw this young boy who looks like he's asleep, he has it's a mask on his face, so you're not actually looking at his face, so there's that respect for the face there, but it is a young boy who looks like he's asleep. That can be confronting, can be moving, so I suppose I'm not giving a trigger warning per se, but if you don't feel comfortable going in, that's perfectly fine. But for those who would like to go in and have a special moment with Carlo Acutis, and maybe particularly teachers, thinking of the young people whose lives you want to touch in your work, but also if you're working in the health sciences, you know, you'll be working with young people who often are suffering in the way that Carlo Acutis did, really, you know, theology, really any, who am I missing am I capturing just about everyone? Marketing? What a marketing campaign to have the, you know, like what he was doing with his website. So yeah. There's something for everyone, I think, with this young man. So we'll spend a few moments in here. It seems to me that there might be more than just venerating the saint. Remember, venerating, not worshipping. So we've been looking at this a lot. We're going to see him because he's close to Christ, and we want to ask him for help so we can get close to Christ. So it's that mystery of the community of saints. Yeah. What year did he pass away?
7 or 6, one of them. 2006.
2006.
Because I remember doing a study. We did a study on him. Like it was really to see like his how at 15 he had leukemia, but like it was just and how he can relate to us because it's modern day. He used a website, like you know,
Very relatable.
very
PlayStation.
Yeah. He had a PlayStation.
He had a PlayStation 2 actually, yeah.
And Spider-Man pajamas. It's my favourite. So I actually think that it's not only the veneration, but there might be a little display, and it looks like it'll probably come out this way. So we'll meet out here. Okay.